Spontaneity is good, and we have Madeon. What is good, Madeon?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. I know that everyone is really excited to have you here on Cat Calls. I'm excited. The chat is going nuts. It's so fast, I can't even read it. I love
Hey, everybody.
So we were just chatting a little bit in our virtual green room, so to speak, because
Mm-hmm.
we were watching the All My Friends video, and I was telling you how I've had fun exploring video editing for the first time last year now, I can officially say. But you yourself video edited the All My Friends video, is that correct?
Yeah, I edited the video with my friend Glassface. Josh was like so talented, and that was kind of my first venture into editing in Premiere. And I had been doing like certain clips for my live show visuals in the past in After Effects, but I'd never edited like a full video like that. So that was an interesting process. I thought there was a lot of similarities with the music production process. So I had a lot of fun with that. And then when we came around to doing the live show, Good Faith Live, I also had a lot of fun editing the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's just adding a whole nother layer of depth to what you're able to do as a creative. And I know that with Good Faith in particular, it was really important for you creating that visual element of the whole story. Can you talk to me about why the visual was important and where you got the inspiration for this whole hyper saturated, hyper real fun
Yeah,
thing?
the musical direction of Good Faith came at the exact same time as the visual sensibility. To be honest, like it kind of came in a flash. I was in New York for a few days in late 2015, and just I booked a studio for no particular reason and got very like manically inspired. I was so overcome with just visuals, and New York has always been a very evocative city for me, and it really translated, and so I wanted to find ways to translate that enthusiasm and that confidence that I was feeling. And so saturated colors made sense, and choirs was one of the first things that attracted me, and some more organic elements and live drums. And so everything kind of made sense to me quite quickly, but figuring out how to execute what was in my head on screen and on speakers took years,
Absolutely.
So I think some of the early processes of Good Faith came very early on, such as the very like saturated turquoise dimension and the kind of solarized type of processing. But then a lot of the other tropes visually, I found out much later in the process. I could see them in my head all along, and I was iterating with various attempts at achieving it, and failed for a couple of years because I'm such an amateur in the visual world ultimately. And so when all the pieces came together and it started looking like what was in my head, it was really gratifying.
It's absolutely beautiful. And Crushy in the chat said that Crushy loved it on the Good Faith tour, which
Oh, cool.
I am so kicking myself that I didn't get the chance to see. I have seen you live before, but that tour looked incredible. I did see a wonderful video someone uploaded of a show in Tokyo, I think you did, and really well done with the visuals, sir, I have to say.
Thank you. Well, obviously I wasn't alone making the visuals for Good Faith Live. It was a team of we call ourselves, architects. Everybody working on the Good Faith project, and I made some really great friends and met some really talented people making that show. And so and we continue to talk all the time and try to find new things to work on together to this day, because something really magical happened. My process for making the visuals for the show was to find talented creators that have different skill sets, and then unite everybody in an Airbnb close to my house in Los Angeles. And then I would just show up every morning, and I would try to explain what the vision was, and we all kind of unified and rallied around it. And we had some rules and obsessions and running jokes about, like, it's hard to notice, but in Good Faith Live, there's never the color red.
Oh.
It's always a subtle shade of fuchsia, but actual true red. Actually, well, it does happen one time in the show at one specific spot, but those are the rules. Like, we decided,
Right.
okay, so we can only, if we use this color, we can't use that one. If it's this shape, then this one is forbidden. And so we kind of iterated together and came up with this Bible, and then executed this collective vision. And it was great to take from all these influences and come together for something singular.
I love that. I actually heard once that Richie Houghton is very particular about his colors. It's like everything has to be red, black, white, a kind of that like classic yellowy light color. And I know you're a Justice fan. I am a huge Justice fan. You saw their Woman Worldwide tour, yeah?
Yeah, I saw that show, I think, four times.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
3 times.
I basically followed it too. But they very interestingly used red during the stress bit. And I thought
Yeah.
that was also very thoughtful.
No. They are one of the biggest inspiration, and so that show is one of the best I've ever seen. So it was like definitely one of
Same.
my top references. Like a lot of the references for Good Faith Live were actually coming from outside the world of electronic music. A lot of pop references.
Yeah.
So I tried to not watch too many electronic shows so that I didn't replicate what some of my peers were doing. I
Definitely.
thought it was fun to like take ideas from like a Beyonce show and things like that and see how they fit within what I do. And also from like much smaller show as well. And so, and also from like just contemporary art and various things that were
Yeah.
outside of the realm of music at all. But Justice is probably the thing that I've been most jealous of that I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, apart from
absolutely.
Daft Punk, obviously. but-
Of course. Did you, I mean, I don't know how old you were in 2007, but were you blessed to see the show?
It was the very first concert I ever attended.
Shut the front door. The very
Yeah.
first no wonder you're Madeon. Like, please tell me about that story. And shout out London Gang. I saw London Gang in the chat. Just want to shout him out. But who brought you? Do you have a cool aunt we need to thank? Or
Literally a cool aunt.
Yes!
That's literally what happened. My aunt, I guess, had the opportunity to buy tickets through her job or something, and then they brought me over to Nîmes, and I entered this like historic arena and saw live music for the first time in my life, and I had been obsessed with Daft Punk for a couple of years at that point, and it had shaped my life in so many ways already, you know, and so I was very impressionable, and I was very impressed, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Was
yeah.
that
I actually keep the tickets from the show in my bedside.
Oh yeah, I was lucky to see them at Lollapalooza, and I won't wear the t-shirt anymore because I don't want it to fade too much, but I have it, and it's like my little talisman, so I'm right there with you. Shout out your aunt. Was that when it was actually the tour when I believe Sebastian was opening and like the Rapture, or was it just Daft Punk?
I'm pretty sure that Cassius opened,
Oh.
and it was really amazing, and obviously tragic loss of Philip Starr,
I know.
and amazing discography to get into for anybody listening who's not familiar with Cassius. And I think it was kind of
Cassius
around the era of like
Bells.
Toop, and I think they played in a band formation. That's my memory of it, but I may be mixing memories. So I believe I think Sebastian may have played, but I don't remember that.
It's all right. It's not a pop quiz. So it's
Yeah,
all
I did
fine.
see Sebastian perform a number of times since, though, and I'm a big admirer as well.
Also crazy. Macarom wants you to know that was Good Faith Live for them. So
Oh, that's so sweet.
way
that's
to
so
smash
wonderful.
it. Yeah.
And I that's at the end of the day, that's always the aspiration, and you never feel like worthy of even that ambition. You know, it feels like way beyond reach. But I was thinking about it actually yesterday because I was interviewed by some of your colleagues in the profession for like a piece about Daft Punk's discovery. And that's part of what I touched on in that interview was how, you know, like their album Discovery was like an ode to their childhood and their nostalgia, and I experienced that album as a child. So for me, it wasn't nostalgic. It wasn't looking back. It was my actual childhood. There was no irony to it. There was no distance. There was no. It was just straight up my childhood. So I think there's like this cyclical nature, you know, right? Where like certain keyboards that they used in that album, intending to reference Supertramps and their memories of childhood, became my memories of childhood, and that I'm then used in my music. And maybe there are young producers today that maybe they heard my album and they discovered that sound through that. And I love this cyclical nature of shows and sound. I think it really moves me. Like contributing to the tapestry of pop culture and music is ultimately my dream.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Good Faith a little bit more too. I love that you intentionally put yourself into a realm outside of what maybe people expected from you or you were used to working within. You started taking these pop references. What other ways, in that same vein you were just talking about, did you kind of pull from the fractal history of music to create the message that Good Faith became?
I think I was trying to be conscious of making sure that the stuff that I was referencing with Good Faith was not too current and was not too reactive. And so, and it served me well because it took a long time to make the album. And I'm glad that some of the songs that I made really early in the process stayed relevant for me even at the end of it. Like they hadn't expired. And so I just thought about the music that moved me the most and that captured the most this feeling of enthusiasm and hope and reclaimed joy, you know. And so, I just kind of tried to make sure that I wasn't being distracted by any preconception of what scene I belonged to or what anybody else was doing, and that I tried to forget about my own history and try to forget about my own situation and kind of dream about what's the ideal artist I would want to be, and not what's the next step for Madeon, what's the dream, like who do I want to be. And I realized that part of my fantasy was to be an artist that was more clearly embodied and less of a producer but more of like a narrator as well. And so writing the songs and singing the most of the songs on the album came quite naturally, and then that inspired the show as well, you know, like Good Faith Live, which is a show that I miss performing very dearly and that I hope I get to perform again.
Me too.
It's very much wish fulfillment. It's like I started Good Faith Live by thinking like, what's my dream thing to do on stage? Like if I could just pick all my toys, like what would be the fantasy? And I did exactly that. Like it's my absolute like dream show within the scale that I could do.
That makes me so happy. I was just listening to it today, and I love that the first track is Dream, Dream, Dream in that way. Like you're just opening it right up. And the lyric, I feel the weight of my dreams, really hit me today too, as I was like trying to put my intro together and make sure everything was right for the stream today, because I was like, I feel the weight of my dreams too. It's heavy. It takes work. I don't know if that's quite what you meant at the time, but
no, it is what I meant. I mean, it meant a number of things, but that's definitely, you know, there's, I think all creators have a unique kind of occasionally toxic relationship with their craft and their passion, and that's something that I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about and reconsidering ever since lockdown started, you know. And I've tried to and the calm that it afforded, I guess, in a way, also made me reconsider where dreams and ambition fit in my idea of a successful, well-lived life, you know. And so maybe I'll have to write a sequel to that song with my recent breakthroughs. Dream,
wake up, have a day, dream some more. Find some. Talk before anyone loses their mind in the chat. Everyone wants to know what you're drinking. Would you mind sharing with the class?
This is it's a secret juice that
secret juice.
It's just green tea. Just green tea, people. It's nothing more than green tea. It's been a daily ritual. Yeah, it's been my daily ritual. My friend became obsessed with it and gifted me a tea subscription, and it changed my life. Like that's right.
I have a roommate who loves tea. I should get it. What subscription is that?
It's tea with Ticuno, I think.
Tea with Ticuno. I'm gonna write that down. Chat, write that down.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a gift, so I didn't look into it too much. But,
right, of course.
It's really, really, really delicious. So that's been my little
nice.
daily ritual. Yeah. And I try to whenever I make tea, I usually do it after lunch. I'll just try to not be on my phone and do something calming and try to feel grateful or focus my thoughts on something that makes me happy. So
yeah, absolutely.
Through association, the taste now makes me happy. You know, I've conditioned myself.
Oh, well, I'm so glad that you're enjoying it now. It was like, whether or not this is going to go well, at least you're going to enjoy yourself.
Right.
So talk to me about how you have navigated the strangest year in living memory. You thankfully did get to tour the Good Faith tour. That would have been a tragedy had you put all that work into it and then did not get to. But then what was going on around the time that you found out we were all going to be stuck inside? And I know for some creatives it's been hard to keep at it, but how have you navigated this situation? I
remember vividly, like the last day before the reality of it hit us all, I was working on my Coachella costume. And I was with my
nice.
stylist picking between various shiny fabrics. And so I just went from this like very fun, glamorous day all the way to, and then overnight the world and my life changed and everything felt so silly. And there was a lot of denial, I'm sure at first, from everybody, and a lot of tension in the air. And we were so energized by what we were doing with Coachella and with the festival season. I mean, I do feel grateful now that I get to at least do the headline tour of Good Faith, but that show I think was really also meant to live in festivals. And I think that I hope that we get to do that. That would be really meaningful for me. And so yeah, no, we had all these wonderful plans for Coachella, and it was a little bit hard to let go. And then I tried to focus my my attention and my thoughts somewhere more productive. But yeah, I don't have a clear memory, honestly, of the first couple of months. To be honest, I think we were
probably
all
fine.
Just
we all pushed it down.
But I knew from the start that I was lucky to be able to be uncompromisingly safe, So I just decided, all right, I'm just going to be home for maybe years. This is just going to be my life now. And thankfully, I'm not somebody who needs to socialize very much to feel happy, or who I'm not partially outdoorsy. So this didn't feel like a big sacrifice to me. And so I was more saddened by the lack of connection I had, like with fans and with performing, especially because I had been doing Good Faith Live, and the final show that I did before lockdown was EDC Mexico, and it was one of the best Good Faith Live show ever with one of the loveliest audience, and so I felt so grateful and so happy to be doing that show, and so it was definitely bitter to let go of that addiction.
Well, I remember one of the first things, or from the first couple of months of quarantine, was your incredible Secret Sky set, which I have rewatched a number of times. And I remember when I first watched it, I was like, it was coming on, and I was like, oh yeah, look, that must be his really cool wall that he told me about with all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it started doing these little pops of color, and I was like, wow! And then it was just a full-on sensory overload.
Yeah, this was very much a magic trick concept, because I had done a couple of DJ sets prior to that, and I shot them in front of that wall. And I put together that wall when I developed Good Faith, because I wanted to be surrounded by my references and the iterations. And it was really nice whenever I had like architects come over, I would like point to the wall, or when I would introduce like new people to the team, I would say like, look, okay, here's the art direction, the fonts look like that, and this. It was so nice to be able to point like this physically and just geek out in a living room as opposed to on a Dropbox, And so it was really cool to do that. And then I added a little bit more and made it really full for the purpose of the All My Friends video. Actually, no, for the campaign reveal teaser. And anyway, and so it felt like a natural like set to do DJ sets when lockdown started. And so I did a few sets just shooting it in front of it. And then when Secret Sky came around, I felt like I wanted to do a fun little switch. And so instead of actually performing in front of it, I performed in front of a green screen and took a picture of it. And so to the people that had seen those sets before, they just were somewhat disappointed and feeling like, I guess it's more of the same. It's going to be the same set. And so we purposely made visuals that kind of like played with your perception and then have the wall melt and eventually transform. So it was a cute little trick. It was a little magic trick.
It got me. Would you show us that wall?
Yeah, it's right there. Let me, I'm just going to cut video for a bit.
Okay, so cut video. We can do it. You guys want to see the wall? Say yes.
I don't know if there's anything on the wall still that is unreleased. Let me see. And then I need to shift the video. Wait.
So many yeses. We're getting wheeze too.
We're getting wheeze? Okay, that's good. So we got...
What are we looking at?
So let's see. This was various attempts at printing the All My Friends art, because a lot of the colors that I use in Good Faith cannot be printed.
Wow.
And so it was a good way to test them. This is actually a picture that my grandpa took.
Liquid faith.
That I really loved. And so I just love that.
Beautiful. Where did he take that photo? What is that?
I forgot. I wrote it down somewhere, but but something about it just made me moved me, and so I enjoyed that. Those were some early tests of like trying to combine the New York aesthetic with psychedelic textures, so there's a lot of like fun thing. This was like research of like different fonts and seeing how they look together.
Cool.
And this was different logos. This one is cool. This one was different versions from designer Corey Schmitz trying to figure out the system for the. So there's a lot of stuff everywhere, and
I love
and it's
this.
fun. And sometimes I have mock-up of merch on there, things like that. And so sometimes I'll just look at the hide video for a bit.
Amazing.
And sometimes I will look at some of these things. It will remind me of ideas that I'd never completed, and I'll get back on it. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm just like, talk about taking a mood board to the next level. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, let's ask a couple of fan questions here. I don't remember their names, but I did write some down. Somebody asked if you prefer large venues or small venues, and I thought that was interesting.
I prefer large venues. Yeah, like I Intimacy is great. It's wonderful. I have some incredible memories there, but I think I'm a fan, especially for the Good Faith era, of spectacle and scale. And I think Good Faith Live was always designed as a show that meant to scale up, and a lot of the imagery is about like epicness and big choirs and armies of characters. And so the bigger the screen, the bigger the venue, the bigger the audience, I think the more impactful it is, to a point, because obviously a lot of the show is designed around my silhouette, and if I'm too small on stage, then it doesn't work as well. But my favorite show of Good Faith was the largest, which was I think either Lollapalooza or probably actually Bill Graham in San Francisco.
Hey, I'm in the Bay Area. Woo!
Wonderful. And so we had a big venue to play with, and so we could bring a big screen. And so I felt like that was the closest to the vision, and that's why I was so excited about doing festivals.
Oh man, well I really do hope that this happens. This Good Faith Festival, Good Festival of Faith. I have faith. I have good faith that it'll happen.
Me too. I just know that whatever happens, whenever it happens, I'll really, really experience that gratitude. Like I feel silly for every time I've stepped off stage and felt frustrated at the show. Like, this wasn't good enough. Like, honestly, I would take an hour of a crowd booing me right now, and I would still think it's amazing. Like I would take the worst show of my life right now, and still would cherish it more than the best. So man. I'm just I hope the stars align, as everybody does.
Absolutely. Danielle Dubla, 77. Hey Madeon, love your music. I was wondering though, how did you get to work on Chromatica? What's your fave song from Chromatica? And are there any BTS memories of the making of 911?
So my contribution to Chromatica was very small. I was way more involved, obviously, back in the days in art pop, and I worked on multiple songs there. With Chromatica, it was very much my friend Michael's blood pop baby. Was executive producing it, and he worked with lots of cool producers like Burns and Chami, and so that was really, they were in the middle of it. But I was catching up with Michael, and he was showing me songs early on, and I would give feedback, and I was like encouraging, and I really liked what I was hearing, and I was trying to give some pointers, but I really had no intention of actually being involved. I was just advising as a friend, and so at one point though, there was this song 911 that already existed, that I think Gaga wrote with Justin Trenter, and the production was quite rudimentary, and it didn't quite click right away. And so I think I just got given the stems and just figured out some fun drums and some things, and changed the chorus melody a little bit, and just I did a little bit of additional work and to help out, and I guess they all really liked it. And then I got to come to the session where Gaga recorded the vocals, and so I got to see her for the first time in years, because we hadn't seen each other in a while, and it was really emotional and really wonderful. She's a very, very kind, generous, gracious, smart person. I never have enough good words for her, so I'm always amazed when I get to be the tiniest part of that story, because I'm a huge fan of megastars, and that scale just amazes me, and it just blows my mind. And so the energy, and I was also there, when I wasn't working on it, but I got to see some of the breakthroughs of when the bass line changed on Rain on Me and things changed, and we all got to listen to new versions and dance together in the studio. It was so wonderful. There was a really electric magic throughout that world, and I got to get a small peak of it. So that's my memory of Chromatica. And then my favorite song, I love Rain on Me. I think it's so good. And then I actually really like 911 a lot. I think it's just totally my sensibility of songwriting and rhythm. So yeah.
Yeah. Say it like it is. I love this question. Jean-Not Cafe wants to know if you've learned anything new recently, and not necessarily music-wise, but just like something that you enjoyed learning or doing.
Yeah, I have some new hobbies. But I don't know what I wanna. I try to stay a little bit mysterious, So I'm trying to think. Yeah, what did I learn? Yeah, I don't know. I let so much of my life inspire my work, but the way that I present it within my work, I want to stay on my terms. So I kind of want to keep it a little bit under wraps. So that's, I guess what I've learned is that I enjoy tea. I think
that's true.
And
you learn to keep your mouth shut. I mean, I don't know if you ever learned that way, but.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things that I've changed on my outlook on life, and I'll just let it inspire writing. I'd rather say it in songs than here, I think.
Are you currently writing? Are you working on things?
I'm always writing, but I'm not on. It's never like it's never urgent. It's always like I'm. It's always a constant process, and sometimes feels like they're really close to being done, and sometimes they feel very far, and you never truly know. And so every day brings me closer to the next thing I'm gonna make in ways that I sometimes do not suspect. Sometimes I'll do something completely unrelated to music, and I'll go to a museum. I'll go to, not these days really very often, but sometimes I'll do something and it'll just light a fire in me that'll find its way into work. So yeah, I'm always doing stuff that brings me closer to more work. I don't know if I could answer that more vaguely, but
No, I appreciate that you tried though. Oh, well, I don't know if you'll give this away, but Ami does not text, wants to know if there are any new artists you're loving at the moment. Do you keep a close tab on your artists that you like, or are you willing to share?
Sure. Let me look. I'm gonna go through my playlists, so I tell you something. What have I been listening to? I'm going to give you a lot of stuff, right? So,
all right, I'm ready. Y'all ready? Let's write it down.
My brother just sent me a great song called Paraphernalia from a band called Temples. I've really enjoyed the French band Catastrophe. They have a great song called Maintenant ou Jamais, which means now or never.
Now or never. I know a little French.
I've been blasting Eternal Flame, classic. Tapestry by Carole King lately.
So good.
Yeah, I've been finding some really, really obscure. Like, I always try to find unexpected references that I know nobody else listens to inspire.
Yes.
And so there's some really niche stuff in there, but they're my little treasures. A bunch of Fleetwood Mac, Sébastien Tellier. I've been really listening to a bunch of Breakbot lately.
Yeah, nice choice.
I've been a lot of French stuff that from like the 80s and 90s. Let's see, Rina Sawayama, Robin, Georgia Smith. I wasn't listening to Georgia Smith. That was a mistake. Always the French band Parody is always wonderful. So yeah, kind of a lot of stuff.
I like it. Eclectic.
But I'm always rediscovering my classics. I finally got this album from The Cars on vinyl that I've been looking for a while.
Which one? Not Candio, is it?
Not the what?
Not Candio?
No, I think is it self-titled? Or like the one where there's like all mixed up and like...
So good.
Like what's this album called? It's so
is it the one with just the face, just the girls like...
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. It's so good. Just what I needed. Best
just what I needed. I think
it's self-titled. Yeah. So listenable. So
good. I love that. Someone has asked a couple of times if you have a favorite character to play in Sonic 2. So they're animate. So I'm gonna ask.
Okay. I really enjoy. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be a cool kid with an unexpected answer and say Knuckles.
They said they like Knuckles too, and I didn't even tell you that. It wasn't a setup.
Authentic.
Nice. Someone also asked, ooh, I like this one. It's 8 megabytes wants to know what your favorite memory of being on tour was. And I wonder if that favorite memory is different now that you are so removed from touring. They didn't ask that. I asked that last part.
No, I think it's a lot of incredible memories, and I've revisited some of them through pictures lately, and I cherish all of them. I think the first that comes to mind is in Atlanta, after playing the first Shelter show with Porter Robinson. We were really nervous. You know, the show came together really late. We were really kind of behind schedule, and we didn't get to like test the show quite as often as we would have liked. And so there was some nerve about, we were so close to it that we didn't know if the show was any good, basically, was our problem. We redid the video a lot at the last minute, and like so much of it, like we didn't have time to process, and we just, as soon as we finished, we just moved on to the next thing. And that we needed to worry about, and the other fire to put out.
Yeah.
And so we basically, the day of the first show, we basically did the first run through of performing it start to finish in the venue as our sound check, you know, and the tension in the air was really palpable, and we didn't know if the show was any good. We performed it, and we kept on looking at each other in awe. Like every moment that we weren't so sure about, like killed, and the audience reacted as ideally as we could have wished. And and I remember coming off stage and Porter and I like hugging and crying, and then the whole team coming together, and and then we knew we were gonna have a good time. We knew we were gonna have a good tour. We knew that we in the end we made it to something that we were gonna be able to be enjoying and be proud of. And so that relief was, you know, and it's such a tangible relief, because it's not just that you feel good about it, it's that you have a crowd in front of you that engages with it. So it's like all of your anxiety transformed in cheers.
Wow.
It's very it's a beautiful climax.
I feel it right now, and I was so happy to see y'all play at Coachella, and I feel like I could feel that love between you guys and me and the whole crowd too. Like I was like, they're friends. They're doing such a good job.
Yeah, it was really emotional. That is obviously a great, wonderful highlight, and you know, people tell me about that show so often. So it feels like I shared this with so many people. It feels both so intimate and so vast. It's wonderful. It's a great memory.
That's beautiful. So many people are asking about Love You Back. Any news on Love You Back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Like it's a song, I think. And I'm trying to figure it out, you know, like it's some songs take a while, you know, and I think you know what, I'm not gonna be too mysterious. I've really liked this song for a bit, and I couldn't quite crack it, and I've had a chorus that I like for a long time, and I'm still trying to completely make sense of the verse. And so every so often just sit on the piano and wait for it to come, and you know, and maybe I have some options, but we'll see. I would like to see it to sit through, because I enjoy it. Sometimes I just play it for my own pleasure, and it feels a little selfish. So I need to figure that one out, you know.
Well, this is kind of related. Refulgent wants to know if you ever find yourself coming up with ideas that you can't just make with your current skills yet, and how do you deal with that? And I think that was partly what you were talking about with Good Faith. Like, do you have tips on pushing through when you know maybe you're just not there yet? I mean, and not giving up on something.
Yeah, I feel like I feel quite secure in my ability to adapt.
Yeah.
So I'm not too intimidated when there's something that I don't know, because I feel like I'll figure it out. And I may not figure it out correctly, but I'll figure out something that's uniquely mine. And so I knew that I wanted to sing on Good Faith, and I knew that I wasn't the best singer. It's not like a skill that I had worked on very much. And so I thought, well, here's a challenge. How can I improve enough, or find a style, or find an angle? And so I came up with this vocal processing style and those vocal chains. And so I found a solution that was kind of unexpected to a problem that I had. So when there's a bit of a skill gap, and there's something that I can't quite achieve, I'm confident in the fact that this is an opportunity to come up with a solution that's going to be distinct. And being distinct is always more important than being skilled. So no, lately with music, I don't think I often feel like something is completely out of reach. You know, I've been making music for so long, and so I have all of those little tips and tools. But I usually try to invites that feeling, and instead of it making me feel inadequate, it inspires me to invent a distinct solution. So yeah, that's how I deal with that.
That's a great response too. Necessity is the mother of invention, and so if you can't climb over that mountain, go around it. I don't know, find another way. Keep knocking on doors. Yeah. I liked this question. Someone asked, do you hear music in your dreams, and have you ever had an idea come to you in a dream?
Yeah, quite a bit. So I take a lot of voice memos, like waking up with a melody, and I'll fall asleep and have a vision of a song. Often I'll have visions of visual things though as I fall asleep. Like lately I've been seeing visions of furniture, like new furniture, like weird, that I like a weird chair and a weird table that I want to make or something, which is, it's not something that I do, but my brain is producing those things as I fall asleep. And so I don't know, who knows, maybe that'll be my next passion.
I would love that.
but I have songs, and then also I noticed that there's like, I fall asleep listening to like videos, and sometimes, you know, the algorithm of whatever thing I'm listening to will lead to, I don't fall asleep to music because music is too engaging for me, but sometimes it'll be like audio, and then it'll eventually, one thing will lead to another, and it'll play a song. And and often I've been waking up at like 3 a.m. in the middle of the night because a song played, and it was like this soft, lovely ballad. This actually happened 2 nights ago, and it was just like tiny, like it was like maybe 1,000 views on YouTube, and it was like this beautiful little acoustic song from this French singer I didn't know about, and it just like woke me up, and I just got in this hazy feeling of dream state. I just got to enjoy this as this miraculous moment where I wasn't awake enough to truly like take it apart and analyze it, and I just got to experience it like a child, and that was quite lovely.
That is lovely. Ooh, did you say what it was? You're keeping it secret.
I think I lost it. I think I never found it again, actually.
Well, that makes it even more ephemeral and dreamlike.
Because I remember looking at what it was to be able to look at it in the next morning, and then I lost it. It's probably in my history somewhere. I'll actually look for it.
Yeah. Realm Dreams, REM Realm, said, you've mentioned taking stage inspiration from musicals. Can you speak more about that? Are there certain musicals that have inspired you directly?
Did I say that? I don't remember saying that. But I enjoy musicals. I think they're really fun. I think it's a fun format that works for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but I've only seen a stage musical once in my life. I saw Les Miserables, and I thought it was so cool.
Oh yeah.
And I was so invested. Like I was like, oh my god, this works on me. I did not expect this to work so much on me. I just loved it. I was like, damn, I wish I found out about that earlier. Maybe I would be like a musical theater kid. But I haven't seen any since. And no, I've been enjoying French like musical movie from like the 60s, like Les Demoiselles de Rochefort and things like that. There's this very traditional approach to songwriting that's very, very delicate and precise, and often melodically perfect in ways that I feel so craftsman-like, and also lyrically very efficient, you know, to move the story along and express emotions. And so there's something about how refined it is that really interests me. So that inspires me quite a bit.
Now, this question is for me. I was just thinking, we're talking about the internet and dreams and weird little secret things, and I got such a kick out of the whole task to discover Evil Shelter. And I think that harks back to this beautiful, fun, weird time in the internet when there's kind of like, what is this? And I would love to hear about your early memories of the internet. Like, did you have little Easter eggs that you found as a kid that was inspired by? Or like, what do you look back on fondly in that sort of vein?
Oh, I have a lot of wonderful memories of early internet. And I'm trying to remember. I think there was some like French puzzle websites that had a little bit of that dimension. There was one called Ouverture Facile that really left an impression on me, and there was just a series of puzzles like that had to be solved in very, very creative ways that really made you look like you were like breaking the tools, you know. And so I loved like this kind of breaking the fourth wall experience of puzzle resolution. And so that probably was very inspiring to me. And what else? Yeah, I just loved mystery. I loved any medium as a child that felt like it had a very, very deep lore.
Yeah.
And a very careful one, and that I loved anything where I feel like I could deduce more than the text would give me. Like there was something that I wasn't being told that I could deduce was always something very attractive to me. And so I always think about what is it like to be a Madeon fan, and is it fun, and is it engaging, and is it worth discussing? Is it worth being passionate about? That's always that's my headline for everything. That's what I tell everybody that I meet that works with me on Madeon stuff is, that's what we're trying to achieve is making it something worth being passionate about, and so that means making it more thoughtful and more substantial and not cynical. And so I always go back to those like feeling, because I remember what it was like as a child to be a fan of the Beatles or to be a fan of Daft Punk and I saw how rewarding it was. Like the more you scratch the surface, the more you found. You could talk about it forever. You could build a community around it. You could make new work inspired by it. And so that's my aspiration at the end of the day, is to encourage like that, in some level.
Yeah, I love that, and thank you for being that kind of artist as well. I as a fan appreciate that greatly, and still think
I don't know
about
that
it.
I've achieved it, but that's what we aspire to do anyway.
Well, I think you definitely did with that, because I had a lot of fun just like spending 30 minutes or however long it took me, and I was like, of course I had to do it for work, right? I was like, well, I have to find out what this is so I can blog about it.
And there's a lot more. Like that's the thing, is that I think very few, like the percentage of people that really got to the bottom of what there is to find is very, very small. And so I think it's fun, like I think if you engage with the project, and you keep on digging deeper and deeper, there's more and more cool and fun stuff to find. And so that's my hope, is I want it to be fun to become a new fan and then look back and think like, oh, there was this secret, this quest, this thing, this mystery that still hasn't been solved. And so like it's that's the goal.
It's funny because now that I'm tuned into that's going on, even with Porter Robinson's video, when he had all that, like that Google Maps tag, it was like, well, now I have to try to find this thing and figure out where the place is that I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, but I think he feels very differently about it. I think he loves that stuff as like aesthetically, but I don't think he's very concerned with it actually being a game or being solvable. I think it's like, whereas for me, like I want there to be this dimension of like payoff. So he has like a very different vibe about it, but which is really cool too. Like I love the aesthetic of Nurture. I love Nurture. It's so good.
Yeah, everyone was asking about it. Did you participate at all, or you're just watching as a fan and a friend? I
mean, we I think Good Faith Nurture are sister albums. That's the term that Porter used. I showed him Good Faith in its earliest form, and he talks about it often as being one of the things that inspired some of the process on Nurture. And I thought it was beautiful because I felt the same way about Worlds and like his first album and how it inspired my first album. So we always inspire one another and support one another and give feedback, but often very macro feedback as well. Like sometimes we'll give like specific notes, but sometimes we won't speak for a while and then we'll catch up for like 4 hours and just like change each other's perspective in substantial ways. And so with Good Faith and Nurture, you could see there was some of that like mirror or ping pong effect. And so we actually went and recorded together both of these albums at one point without collaborating at all, to make it clear, but we just had two studios side by side. And I think we shared a musician at one point. And so there was, we were developing those things alongside one another. And so in that sense, it was instrumental in Good Faith coming together, and it always put me back on track. And hopefully I also contributed something indirectly.
It's so special that you have a friend like that in this in this crazy world of music professionalism. I mean, you guys knew each other from back in the old forum days, from what I understand. Like that just has to be so meaningful.
It's so meaningful. It's definitely something that I cherish very much, and it's always fun to look back and think about some of those turning points in your life and how different your life would be if it weren't for meeting that person or doing this thing or hosting that video, and meeting Porter is definitely one of the most instrumental things in my career, but also life. There's just a lot of traits that I admire about and in Porter, and so. It's no, for sure. I really cherish that, especially because we were so young and we got to experience like an era in the early days of our career that was such a whirlwind, such a hurricane. And so being able to go through a lot of the same stages together and have somebody to confide in moments where we were hopeful or lost or confused, and has been so wonderful, And so it was great that we also got to concretize that with the shelter project. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that, and will be forever.
All right, and the chat will be so grateful with me if I just ask you about menthol, because I'm pretty sure they've dropped menthol in the chat like 500 times, and they're gonna choke me if I don't.
Menthol is a track from Good Faith Live. It was just like a demo, and I just kind of sped it up and like tried to and incorporate it into Good Faith Live. Maybe I should. I mean, I think I messed around with it. Never existed as a full song, to be clear. But after Good Faith Live, I messed around with it some more, and I'm just trying to make sense of what I want to do with everything, and a lot of the schedule and plans and the way that I imagine the Good Faith era unfolding obviously had to be kind of altered because of COVID, and so I'm just kind of staying kind of fluid, and I wanna but I'm not living. For as long as since I haven't left behind the Good Faith era, anything is still fair game to consider, to give a moment to. But so thanks for reminding me about that song.
Hey, it wasn't me, it was the chat. Thanks, chat. Mm-hmm. And they've also dropped 12/12/2017 a couple of times as well. So tell me the story on 12/12/2017.
I am not at liberty to say, I'm afraid.
There it is. I was like, man, he's saying a lot.
But if you're curious about that, I mean, you're free to Google, anybody watching, but I will not be addressing it myself.
Ooh, feels like we just walked into a political press conference. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
We will not be addressing that at this time. Thank you.
No.
Well, is there anything that you do want to address? Is there anything interesting, fun that you want to share with the people that maybe has just been going through your mind, coming up for you? Thoughts, meditations.
Say that again. I think. I mean, the headline for me is always to try to encourage people to find ways to be creative in their life. And it sounds a bit generic, but I swear it's actionable, and I swear it makes a difference. And so whenever I find myself being a little too passive, like maybe I'm just consuming too much stuff on my phone and not creating enough, the solution to making my mood better is always to find more creativity. And often it's music, but not always. And you don't have to be good at things, and you don't have to have aspiration, or you don't have to tie your self-worth through it. But I think engaging with creation in any capacity is gonna benefit your life beyond what you can expect. And it is a treasure. And so if you don't create something, and just start anything, and see what draws you, and don't put pressure, don't compare yourself or whatever. Just make sure to make room in your life for creativity, and pick up a music production app. I love this app called Auxy, AUXY. I use it a lot. I started the song Dream 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 on it and stuff. Wow. So I use it, and it's super easy, and anybody can make something cool with it, literally. And then, or just draw, or just write a poem, or just anything. But if you make a little bit of room in your life for creating something, you'll be rewarded immensely. So that's usually my headline.
It's true, and you don't have to know exactly what it is that you're doing to start. Sometimes
Nobody knows.
Stuff figures it out.
Yeah. I mean, I've been bad at music for longer than I've been feeling good about it. It's just, that's the thing. Is not letting yourself be too distracted by consideration of comparing yourself or comparing yourself to your idols or your peers. Just make room for the shrine of creativity in your life in some way. Really do it. It's great.
Absolutely. Were you already producing when you went to that Alive 2007 show? Or is that what got you? Oh, so you already were. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I've always engaged with art as a creator. So I DJ'd before I listened to DJ set. The second I could, I think I wrote a book before I could read. I would dictate somebody the story. Anything that moved me, I wanted to know what it would be like to create it. And so literally the day that I discovered Daft Punk and I got interested in music, immediately I got on my dad's computer and tried to find some audio software and I found like Audacity. I would record on the microphone, trying to make Daft Punk sounding noises with my mouth. And so anything that moves me, it is my way of appreciating other people's work sometimes as well, as to try to understand what it's like to be like when I watch a movie, I almost like identify with the director or the team making it more than I do the characters. Like it's always been the way that I engage with things. And so yeah, as soon as I discovered Daft Punk, I tried to make music. And so yeah, when I attended the concert, I was already, but obviously it was orders of magnitude outside of what I could imagine ever reaching, and still to this day, obviously, you know. So it doesn't mean putting yourself alongside it. It's just trying to look in the same direction.
Absolutely.
You know?
I have to ask, do you still have the suit that you used to tour with as a wee lad?
It wasn't a suit. I never wore a suit.
Oh, I remember it as a suit, but maybe
No, it's just a blazer. It's just a blazer. It's different because it's like it wasn't matched with pants. Otherwise, you know,
oh,
like
okay,
matched
okay.
with pants. No, I had a collection of blazers. I mean, I was kind of in that era. I was intrigued by the idea of just being a recognizable character, like the way that a character in like a TV show would be, and dressing the same. And so that was kind of my solution to that problem. And so I have one. I think I kept two. I kept one that I got custom made, and I kept one that I just liked that I found. And yeah, I tend to keep like the iconic to my life, you know,
yes.
like moments like that. So I have like, I remember the jacket I wore at Coachella 2017. Oh. I haven't really worn it since, but I just keep it in my closet. Every time I see it, I'm like, that was then, you know, that was the one. So I keep all these things. I also archive every fan gift. And,
Ooh, love that. Any really fun fan gifts you want to shout out from the archive?
Yeah. There's one that I was given once. That was a full diorama of my live show at the time. Wow. Like 3D, like incredible, and with accurate, like the computer screen at the right interface and everything. And then I was in there levitating with wings. It was just like so well made, so like so
cool.
mind-blowing. So when I moved to Los Angeles, I brought it with me, so I have it somewhere.
That is so rad. Shout out whoever made that diorama. I hope you're in the chat. Like, legendary. But yeah, I agree. I also keep things that just remind me of certain eras.
Oh yeah, go. Where is that from?
Oh, whenever it was like graduation Kanye era, like they actually used to glow in the dark, but now they're just old.
Kanye has so many iconic moments that I forgot about this.
I know.
It's that's kind of the dream, is that you have a thing that defines you, and then you just keep on having so much new, wonderful things that it's hard to keep track of everything that defines you, and you can't be defined anymore. And that's like, wow, that's the dream.
I mean, I think you're well on your way. You've definitely put so much heart and soul into everything that you've created over the years, and it's been a pleasure watching you grow as an artist, and it has been more than a pleasure having you on the show today. I have to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. That's very, very kind. I had a lot. I really enjoyed talking. You know, it's I miss, you know, so much the interaction and getting to talk music and with people, and so this is the next best thing. Thank you for having me over.
Well, I'm always down to talk about music if you ever
if
you don't have
I haven't mentioned, but I love the Flat Eric in the
background.
Mr. Wiseau.
I know. I was hoping you would. I brought him out for a dance earlier in the show.
He was I love him so much. I was really scared of him though.
When you were a kid, back in like the flat beat days, smoking his hot dogs?
No. Like when I started touring, like actual Mr. Wiseau, Quentin Dupieux.
Oh, you were scared of Mr. Wiseau.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be? Oh my gosh, I got to meet him one time.
He's a genius. I love his movies. They're
absolutely.
So good.
I love the movies. Oh my gosh, they're so good. Yeah.
And it's I love Réalité so much. And
what was the one I recently saw? It was like one of the last movies I saw on a plane, where it's like the two cops and they're in, I can't remember what it's called, but, and one of them
is Wrong Cops? I didn't see that.
It wasn't Wrong Cops, but it was something, it was in French.
Au Poste.
Yes. Au Poste, yeah. That one was, I couldn't believe it was on the plane. I'm like, what the hell?
I watched Deerskin the other day. It was so wonderful.
Oh my god.
Like, wow.
So good. Do you have a Flat Eric?
I don't have a Flat Eric.
You need a Flat Eric.
But,
well, maybe.
I know they sold like some Flat Erics, but I didn't buy it. But someday.
One day. Well, maybe now a fan Lucky fan. Can get one for you. All right, all right, all right. We're crossing over an hour. I could just gab with you all day, but I'll let you go. Thank you so much. Any final parting thoughts? We may watch the Miracle video if you want to talk about that. That one's very interesting.
Yeah. So the Miracle video was kind of different because I wasn't very involved. I just got kind of pitched this idea from Lena, and I just thought it was like so cool to like somebody else explore the world of good faith through their eyes, and what the song inspired them. And so it was so incredible to see it come together, and I think they made a really like strong emotional video.
Yeah, it almost made me cry today when I was watching it. I don't know, maybe it was just the headspace I was in, but I was like, oh.
I was kind of nervous about putting it out because obviously it was so different from the rest of the good faith era. But I thought because it came out kind of quite a bit later than everything else, it had its own moments, and so it didn't really impede in the narrative of everything else. And so so it was cool. It was a cool treat, a cool moment. Like I was really excited to see
and Maisie
that
Williams,
come together from a distance.
The actress, right?
Yeah, Maisie killed it. I love her. She's so good.
Incredible.
I've never watched Game of Thrones though, but I so for me I was just kind of I just thought she was great in the video and everything else that I'd seen her in. So.
You ever get bored enough? Those first 3.5 seasons are really great.
I hear good things. I'm not very I don't really watch TV shows, to be honest. I'm more of a movie person.
Yeah. All right. Last movie you watched, and then we'll go.
The last movie I watched was Mother! Exclamation mark with Jennifer Lawrence.
Ooh.
From 2017.
Right. Yeah.
It was my second time watching it because I know it's a controversial movie, but I adore it. I think it's amazing.
All right. I think I saw it once before. It's kind of, I don't know. We won't go down the rabbit hole. Blah. All right, I'm gonna let you.
It's very it's very non good faith though. Like so, if you're expecting like just want to like, it's a bit horrific.
Is there a good faith movie? Is there a movie you would say could exist in the canonical world of good faith?
Yeah, I mean, there's more like sequences and movie scenes. Like, I definitely got a reference from like the end of 2001, the Kubrick movie for Good Faith. That was definitely in the mood boards. There's some, what else? Maybe like Magical Mystery Tour for the Beatles.
Nice.
Maybe some yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair though, like one of the things that was so exciting to me about Good Faith making it is that I felt like I could see it, but I couldn't compare it to anything too specific.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's anything I'm like, this is it, that's the reference. Like but there are definitely pieces across a lot of the media that inspired me, like Pink Floyd, The Wall, and things like that. But a lot of it is a little bit more scary than I think what I was trying to make.
Yes.
So.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations on your Grammy nomination, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well, I like literally was like, of course I'm going to talk to him about the Grammys. And then I've just been bloop down this rabbit hole. But that's so well deserved, man. Like big claps. How does it feel? How did it feel? Where were you when you found out?
Yeah, I was somewhere, and I really I just kind of like, it was suggested to me that I should watch, and I watch anyway because I'm like a big fan of those things. Like I love it. I think it just thrills me, and I kind of like, those institutions. And I've always also like specifically like enjoyed the work that the Grammy Foundation does with music airs and things like that. Like I like that award, and so I was just kind of watching, and I was holding my breath, and when it got to that category and they listed the name, and then I was the last name on the list, and so I thought, oh, there's no way. And then Dua Lipa was presenting it, and she mentioned it, and I was just like, I exploded. I was so it was so fun to have something to look forward to and to get excited about within the context, and I tried to make it as memorable as I could given the circumstances, you know, and I I just called my family and had a great time, and I had hoped for it, for years. Like it just felt like it put a bow on like a long, arduous, difficult journey, and of making this album. And so I just really cherished that moment. So
absolutely. Well, good luck. I know it's not the same sort of Grammy experience as it would have been in the past. I think it's happening in March, something like that.
It is happening in March. I'm kind of got it because I remember I had to get a tuxedo to go to the Magic Castle in pre-COVID days. The Magic Castle is this space in Los Angeles where you can see a lot of magics, and you have to come formally dressed. And I didn't have any formal clothing, so I went and bought a tuxedo just to go see magic. And I remember like seeing another tuxedo and thinking like, oh my God, this one's so good, this one's so great, but I don't have a reason to get it, so I'm gonna get it if I ever get nominated for a Grammy. So I can wear it on the red carpet, and so I'm a little gutted that I don't get to have that, experience.
You gotta roll a red carpet out in your backyard or in the street and just do that strut for people anyway. Have your friends like hold the microphone in your face and be like.
I think it's just more motivation to
do
make
it again.
Another album worthy of attention maybe, but yeah.
That's right. All right. I'm gonna let you go. I promise. You can have your day. It was so
I'm enjoying
wonderful
this, clearly. I'm not in a rush. I can hang out.
Do you want to take a couple more fan cues? Is that what you want to do?
I can do that. We can do that.
All right, we'll do a couple more, and then I'm gonna have to. But 24-hour stream, let's go. No perk foot. I can't do that. I gotta make dinner for my roommates tonight. Not right now though. Someone wants to hear about your alias, but do you have an alias that you would share with the group, or is that a secret?
I don't have an alias, no. Like what alias are the naming?
They're just say ask about his alias.
I don't have an alias, no.
I
would tell you, like I would not,
You would tell us. Pendants. People keep asking about pendants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. I love it. I love your style. Let's see. What else is a good one? Oh, someone asked about would you make like a video game or an augmented reality experience for Good Faith or Adventure? Would you play with that sort of thing?
I think it would be cool. I didn't, for whatever reason, Good Faith never felt like a project that inspired that particularly. I mean, we did some like Instagram and Snapchat like filters and things like that are technically AR, I guess. But like they like I love interactive experiences. I love video games, but it's not something that naturally came to mind creatively for this project because I was more preoccupied with the real world.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the moments of Good Faith were designed around making sure that people went specific places, and I launched a campaign with vinyl spread across the world in like iconic record stores, and so that's what I wanted. I wanted people to meet in person. There was a pop-up shop in LA. I wanted people to gather in large amounts.
Like they just
together.
Can't anymore.
Right. So
Mask off.
A lot of the stuff that I had in mind, I had to convert into like online experiences, but that's why, yeah.
I love that.
My light went out because we've been talking so long, but it's okay.
Your light went out? Oh, yeah. All right, I'll ask a couple more, and then I'll cut it, because I don't want this to be like the world's longest YouTube video one day when it's online.
That's okay.
Seeing as your biggest inspos have movies with their albums, how would you approach a movie album crossover?
I don't know how I would approach it. I think it would be an incredible journey, and I think a number of creative stars would have to align, like for a musical project to lend itself to that well. Yeah, I think I feel like if I had a clear answer for that, I would be doing it. But
exactly.
I the thing is that movies are so insanely expensive and safely long, and they seem to be like the highest risk. Like, if you make a bad movie, it's an actual like industrial disaster. Like you can get away with like making a music video that doesn't live up to its potential or something, or there's a lot of like much more tolerable way to experiment with an idea and have it not quite come to fruition. But with movies, the scale is so massive that you need like an insane amount of confidence. And so I wish on myself to be so inspired by an idea that I'll be reckless enough to do that someday.
I love that. I could see that for you though, because you were talking about how you love grand scale in general. So I think it'll
Mm-hmm.
happen for you. You still got a lot of creative time. Someone asked about a Good Faith live album. Would that be
I mean,
something
I
you're
want
into?
to. My focus is on crossing my fingers that circumstances allow for the show to continue to exist live. And so, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now, but that may change, and I want to make sure that there's some degree of permanence to that show. And
Yeah.
so I don't know which form that will take, but depending
cool.
on what things allow, so.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I appreciate that you're still kind of in the middle of it, even though you were kind of forced to pause a little bit, the Good Faith era continues.
Yeah, and we've put out like extra singles and music videos and things, so it's still very and merch and like so we still feel like I still feel the vibe of it, and I'm still and obviously I'm always thinking about other things, but I wanna complete this cycle and because it's such a formative part of my life, it's been my 20s has been Good Faith,
Yeah,
essentially.
that's so big. That is it's beautiful that you have something you can show for that too,
Yeah, and no, for sure, I like that's my favorite part of being a musician with a discography is being able to look back and relive eras of my life.
Yeah.
And understand who I was through that work. When I listen to Adventure, I'm back to being a teenager. And I hope that when I'm older, I can listen back to Good Faith and feel what I feel right now.
People want to know the story behind Mania.
The I mean the song came together in Norway, and I just it started by recording live drums, and then I just didn't know how to mic a drum kit properly, and so I just did it some kind of random way through this like huge analog console, and those toms were kind of distorted in interesting ways, and so I just chopped up. I had my friend randomly play notes like separately, and I chopped them up into this drum loop, and I so the intro of the song came first, and everything else just came together. And I remember thinking, this song is absurd, like it's so weird, like rhythmically, and it's so but I was so obsessed with it, and I just kept on listening to the demo that I had over and over again, and like running around by the ocean.
That's
and so
great.
that was that's how it came together in a day, pretty much. And then I mixed it over like a long period of time, but
Yeah.
the core idea came together really quick.
I love absurdist things.
Mhm.
This whole experience is absurd. I am gonna go though. I feel like I'm starting to get
Wait.
like what?
No, I was. No, never mind.
Did you see something good?
Never mind.
Oh man, now we'll always wonder.
You'll always. I'm a man of many mysteries.
I love it. It's because you're French. That's just the way you guys are. All right, I am gonna go though because I need a
thank you so
snack or
much.
something.
Likewise.
But thank you so much. I'd love to have you on the show anytime again. It was very much a pleasure to
course.
speak with you. So I hope that you put some more beautiful work out into the world, and I have a good reason to invite you back on the show. I can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
Bye, Flat Eric. Bye-bye.
Bye. Guys, what an experience. Y'all motherfuckers got a whole extra like 20 minutes out of me and Madeon because we were just having so much fun with you guys. I think you guys had fun. Oh, Kudo won. Thank you so much. This is just like my favorite thing to do these days. I so appreciate you coming by. If you enjoyed the show, I mean, look, here's the thing. This is the first episode of season 2. All this fun little shiny background that you see and all this, it's new for me. But if you go on YouTube, you look up some of the old episodes, it's the same old vibe, but some of the earlier episodes aren't quite as technologically worked out yet, so bear with me. But the conversations are fun, and they're fun because you guys are fun, and you guys come to the show and you participate. And I know I couldn't have asked every single question, but I tried to hit the ones where everyone was like really shouting it out. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. And what a treat Madeon was, right? Like, what a mensch. We had some good Liquid Faith tea. He needs to make Liquid Faith tea. He needs to make his own tea. That would be so awesome. But yeah, I feel like I'm starting to get lightheaded because I've just been staring at my ring light for an hour and a half. I am based, thank you, based on the internet. Oh, I'm based at my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Katbein, K-A-T, B as in boy, E-I-N. You can find me there. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at CatSaysKill, right there in the corner. Tell me how you liked the show. Tell me how you like my hair. I cut my own bangs. I made my roommate.